special guest. It's his Play with the Pros segment, and that very special guest is Ian Clayton. Tommy?
Maddie, thank you very much. I'm pleased to be joined by our Play with the Pros guest analyst for Haskell Day, Ian Clayton. Ian, welcome, and thanks for coming out.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How you been, all right?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Did you have the big winner in the opener?
I didn't. I just ran in, but I saw it was $60-something horse.
It was. We're going to take a look at prices in just a moment here for the opener. Yeah, I didn't have that one either, so I'm going to need you to give me a winner here in race number 2.
Oh, let's try. Let's try to do that.
We'll talk about it in a second. Here are those big prices from the opener, where Magical Fire, 67.40 gate to wire, 27.40, 10.20. Perry Wan finishes second, $825. Saucy Don rounds out the try, and finishing fourth is the 9 Park Avenue Appeal. Ian, before we start digging into past performances and talking about race number 2, which starts the early pick 4, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I got into racing about 2001. Right over in the tunnel here is Point Given. Came out to see Point Given, and it's the first time I actually saw a horse come out and know he was a star. He walked out, the crowd cheered for him, he started shaking his head around, dancing. Then he came out here on the track, and man, he got up in the final strides at Gary Stevens, and I was hooked from that day, man.
Point Given knew he was a star, and he came out and performed like one as well, giving Gary Stevens his second Haskell. He'll be looking for his third today aboard Oxbow. So we know how you got into the races. What do you do when you're not at the racetrack?
Actually, I'm a television producer for News 12 New Jersey, believe it or not. Yeah. I'm a news producer, so know a little bit about the TV thing. And keep busy doing that, and anytime I get a free chance, I'm over here, sitting out here. It's a great place to be in the summertime, and I love it.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Happy to have you out here. Let's talk about race number 2. It starts the early pick 4 today, the first of 3 pick 4s, and we have an entry-level allowance group, 3-year-olds and up. They'll be going a mile on the 16th over the firm turf course. The rail is set at 12 feet today on the turf course. Before we start going horse by horse, do you have a top pick?
My top pick in here is the 2, Dear John, with Paco Lopez. Trainer Ramon Moyes having a great year, 31% to meet, 27% overall. You know, anytime Paco's on a horse, I got to take a good look at it. He's one of the best guys here, best guys in the country, in my opinion.
I agree.
With a good trip from him, I think, you know, he might have that little extra kick he's been missing in his last few. I mean, he's been really close. His last race, you know, just needed a little bit more, but the top 3, they were noses apart. I mean, we got a neck, half length, another neck. He was only another, length and a half back. The perfect trip today. I think he's right in the mix there, and if we can get, I mean, he's 5-1 right now. If we get 6-1, I mean,
not a bad price.
I like it.
And those last 2 turf races he's coming out of were both won by wire-to-wire winners that day, or those days. Special Skills last out, wire-to-wire. SS Skittles, wire-to-wire. The 3rd place finisher from that last race, Hard Enough, came back to win the Jersey Derby for Bobby DeBona here at a pretty good price. I want to say around 5 or 6-1. So this have some good company lines. We're looking at 5-1 right now. Ian, obviously, big race today is the Haskell. Have you done your homework for the Haskell yet?
Well, you know, Oxbow has fired almost every time. I mean, he's arguably the best 3-year-old in the country. I want Verrazano to win the race. I want Verrazano to be a superstar. If it rains and then the track gets off a little, then I'm a little concerned about how he's going to perform. I think Oxbow and Verrazano are your 2 horses to beat. I don't know if it's Baffert's year this year. I think he's sending one of his B players down here, and, you know.
Well, he's looking for his record 7th Haskell victory. We are going to head to a break. When we come back, we will talk more about the second race. It starts the early pick 4. It is starting to get a little cloudy out here. The wind is picking up. There is rain in the forecast. We'll keep you updated on the weather. We'll be back. Ian and I will talk pick 4. Welcome back to our set here. Tom Cassidy alongside our Play with the Pros guest analyst, Ian Clayton. And Ian, we're going to talk about race number 2. Now let's go horse by horse and see if we can figure this race out, because we had a big price winner in race number 1 that I didn't have. So if we can come up with a big price winner in race number 2, it kind of be a little bit of a redemption.
Chunky double.
It would be. Well, let's talk about the 1 here. Started off Awake at to Wire. Yvonne Belsur trains. Abel Mariano rides. 5th against Similar last out.
I mean, you know, you have to go back to February 21st at Tampa, where he ran well. Granted, it was against $25,000 claimers, 9 winners of 3. Perhaps a ground-saving trip here, you know, from the one post enhances his chances here. He's an outsider in my opinion.
Well, the 2 here, Dear John, we know you like this one a little bit, so we'll talk about the 3 next since we kind of talked about Dear John. The 3 is Selection Sunday, and Angel Serpa will ride, and last seen racing at Belmont against entry-level allowance company and finishing 3rd.
Serpa's one of the best jockeys on the lawn here at Monmouth, I think. He's a totally underrated rider. Been waking up the last couple of trips down to Tampa. He's coming into his own. I really like him on the grass. The horse appears to be the one to beat here. Solid buyers overall. He's a fighter. He'll be running through the lane. You know, 5-2 is a fair price. He's at 5-2 right now. I'm leaning elsewhere, but he's a horse I think you have to use in your exotic bets, your exactas, and your trifectas.
Well, the 4 horse here is a Jersey-bred Pasta Lover going out for Paul Kopach, finished 6th in a starter handicap last time out. Comes back with a bullet work, 2nd start of 2013.
Yeah, again, 2nd start off the layoff. He looked to get a little tired last time going a mile. He has more ground to cover this time. He did catch some softer footing in his last 2. Maybe today a little firmer track. I don't know how soft the grass is today, but you know, maybe he can get back to that form he showed last fall.
Well, right now it's looking good for the gelding because it's firm on the turf course right now, which it does appear to be what he prefers. The 5 is Unbridled Saint, a horse who tries turf for the first time, so a big question mark here.
Well, he's also coming out. He's coming out of a maiden win on the dirt at Calder. That was back in September. You know, he's been on his works. His works don't really thrill me too much. And he steps up a bit in class here coming off the layoff. I think he'd be a surprise.
He does have a work on the turf course, which is kind of interesting. He's 12-1 right now. You would have to think the connections like the way he got over the turf course in that work in order to run him in this spot. But he's still a big price at the moment, 12-1.
Big price.
The 6 is Overwhelming. Jersey Joe Bravo is going to ride here. There was a rider change. I believe Johnny V may be a little late getting down here. But Bravo's going to ride this one for Shug McGahee, coming off a 4th place effort and finished actually a neck behind Selection Sunday.
I mean, the first thing that jumped out for me was the connections with Velasquez, Shug McGahee. Bravo is a fine replacement, especially here at Monmouth. I think for Velasquez on this horse. You know, he ran a really nice race, 2 back at Belmont, breaking his maiden, comes back in an allowance in July after a little break, runs 4th. He's a youngster here, 3 years old against some older foes, but you know, I think a repeat of his maiden score, along with a slight improvement from his last, makes him a major player in here.
He's currently on the board at 3-1, right on the morning line. The 7 is Breath Away, going out for Greg Sacco, who's having a great meet this year so far at Monmouth Park. 2nd last out against $35,000 beaten claimers.
Yeah, I mean, he earned his 78 buyer in his last when he was just beating a nose after rallying between runners. Greg Sacco brings this one back just a week after his career best. You know, he's probably in the best form he's going to be in. Gets an outside draw, which could help him with a decent trip. The horse is going to need to beat me, but I wouldn't be shocked if he ran well.
He's currently up there at 20-1, the 2nd biggest price at the moment. The 8, Strategic Defense, 2nd start off the claim here for Tony Wilson, a pretty good 4th last out.
I love the way this course has been closing in his last few. I mean, he's really been coming out of it. You know, I'm not sure how much this race is going to set up for his newly found closing style, but, you know, his buyers are solid for this one. He just missed 3rd in his last to a next out winner. Definitely another one I'd want to keep in my exotics.
Yeah, that next out winner we talked about earlier, Hard Enough, who came back to win the Jersey Derby. The 9 is Active Magic, who you can't really say surprised a lot of people in his 2013 debut when breaking his maiden, but he was 5-1 that day, and he was a game winner by a nose.
Yeah, I mean, he did set a moderate pace. You know, the one thing going for him is he did it in wire-to-wire fashion, and I didn't see many in here who want to be up front early. You know, perhaps Victor can put him asleep on the front end and, you know, from the outside and get him home.
And getting a much better price today than he was offering last time, 19-1 right now compared
Absolutely.
to the 5-1 when he broke his maiden. And then to the outside, we have King of All Diamonds for Eddie Plesa Jr., who's adding blinkers for the first time.
Well, this is another, I mean, there's a lot to like about this horse. Plesa's having a solid meet so far here at Monmouth. The blinkers go on, and from the outside push, you know, I envisioned him getting a nice stalking trip. From the outside, as long as Sayaz can get him in a good spot. You know, it's the 3rd start off the layoff, and I'm expecting him to run well here. You know,
that's the 10 we're talking about. King of All Diamonds. Pasta Lover goes by. Next up is Unbridled Saint, who is here in the Polish Parade, trying turf for the first time. Does have a work on the grass, 5 furlongs and 105, but that doesn't work over the turf. Overwhelming goes by. We're up to the 7, Breath Away. Kendrick Carmouche riding for Greg Sacco. Then we have Strategic Defense, who had some traffic issues last out, really didn't get a chance to get rolling. He was only beaten a length, though. The 9 Active Magic wire to wire. We're thinking we could see this one on the front end here again today. And then King of All Diamonds will round out the post parade. 9-1 the price. Gabriel Saez for Eddie Polisa Jr. Blinkers going on. Third start off the layoff, was only beaten 2 1/4 lengths last out when finishing 7th against similar company. We are just about 3 minutes away from the second. The field of 10 is on the track. They just left the paddock. In the paddock is Christina Basanakis. Let's check in with her right now. Christina.
Thanks, Tom. And actually, I had a chance to look at these horses before they walked out of here, and a couple of them caught my eye. One in particular was number 10, King of All Diamonds. Now, he's a very handsome gelding. He's a 3-year-old. He's by Giant's Causeway, so he should look very, very well. He faded last time. He wasn't beaten by a whole lot. He doesn't have a lot of speed from that outside post, but he looks fantastic. I feel he puts in that one good, one bad race every time, and I feel that he's due. And if anything we can go by looks, definitely he would be the one. I also think Overwhelming from the Shug McGahee barn. He's very slight. He's not very typical of his sire Hardspun. He's not from the Danzig line. He's a lot slighter, more like his dam. Oh, What a Windfall, very nice mare herself. 4th last time, and I think he looks great. I think he fits this not only this trip, but also the surface, and I think those two stood out here, Tom.
Christina, thank you. We are just about a minute away from post time, although we have a minute posted. We're probably a little more like 3 minutes away from the start of this early pick 4 sequence, but be sure to have your wagers in at tvg.com for njbets.com. And Ian, as we still have some time here before the start of the race, what is your favorite type of wager to make? Are you a pick 4 player, or win, play, show, exactas?
I like exactas. I play a lot of exactas. You know, I play the cheap 10-cent super boxes. I like them a lot. You know, you can hit for a decent amount of those. Usually, I stick with my win bets, my doubles. Occasionally, I pick 3. It's hard enough to pick 3 in a row than it is to pick 6.
That's very
I've
true.
tried and I failed over and over again.
Well, how do you tackle race number 2 here? Do you make a win bet on Dear John and some exactas? Who do you use?
I'm gonna put a win bet on Dear John. I'm also gonna box him up with the outside horse, the 10.
Okay.
And who's my other one here? And the 3. I mean, you got to throw the 3 in there. Just he's solid. He's going to be tough. I mean, granted, he's 2-1 right now. Dear John is down to 9-2, which doesn't excite me as much. But yeah, I'm going to play a win bet on Dear John and just try a little mix it up with some of the exactas and see if I can make a couple bucks here to start the day.
That's one of the better prices we have seen on Ramon Moya horses, 9-2 right now. 5-1 on the board. You'll be seeing 9-2 in just a moment here on Dear John, who looks to get a ground-saving trip. Awake at to wire, 23-1 right now. We have the 4, Pasta Lover, who appears to be taking some play. He's 6-1 right now. Jersey bred, facing some open competition. He's a 5-time winner from 44 lifetime starts, but he's just 2 for his last 18.
True, but if you do go back to a couple races, I mean, he did run an 82 buyer there down at Laurel. And then he ran an 85 buyer here, winning. I mean, granted, it was against claimers, but he came from off the pace. He drew off 5 1/4 lengths. I mean, the horse, he can run when he wants to. It's it's been a couple races though. So if he comes out here and runs a big one today, I wouldn't be surprised. He's a decent price. It's worth a shot.
6-1 right now, and we can expect improvement second start of 2013. Coming up Saturday, August 3rd, the $1.2 million Hambletonian. I'll be joining Darren Zuccali on site at the Big M for that big day. Special first post on Hambletonian Day, 11:50 a.m. Eastern Time from the Big M. Field is walking up the chute, heading to the starting gate right now, and now we're going to be seeing 8-5 on Selection Sunday, so a ton of money coming in on this one late as we are approaching post time here. But Ian, before this race here, remind us one more time, Haskell today. I know you're a fan of Oxbow, think he's a major player, but is Verrazano going to be your selection?
The Haskell every year is a tough race to bet because there's the obvious stars in the race. I'm going to put Verrazano probably in the box. I think Oxbow is the horse to beat. I mean, if you're going to play a win bet on anybody, I'd probably put it on Oxbow. I'm going to mix them up though. I'm going to have Oxbow, Verrazano, and then I'm going to play around with some of the other horses underneath. It depends on how the track is. If the track gets sloppy at some point today, it starts pouring. I'm not liking Verrazano so much, just based on his Derby and the slop, but maybe he just hates the slop.
Well, right now we are fast and firm. There is some rain possible in the forecast throughout the afternoon. Right now we are fast and firm. We're on the turf rail at 12 feet. Field moving into line. 5-1 now the price on Dear John. Do you like the price, or would you?
I'll take it. 5-1. I'll take it, absolutely.
All right, 5-1. We have 8-5 on the 3 Selection Sunday. We have just a few more left to move into line. The 5 Unbridled Saint trying turf for the first time. Will be moving in shortly at 7-1. Unbridled Saint looks like he could be a live long shot. It's going to be up there at 21-1 in a moment here. Trying the lawn for the first time. Does have a work over the surface. It's a big angle I like here, but to start to pick 4, 3, 6, and 8. Try to move on to leg number 2. Just waiting on the outside horse to move in. King of All Diamonds. In selection, the 2, Dear John. Let's go to Larry Comas for the call. Start of the early pick 4 at the Jersey Shore.
They're off. Not the best of starts for Unbridled Saint. It's Pasta Lover who goes out to the front. Dear John to the inside, also showing speed. Outside of them, Breath Away is away running in third as they hook up with the main turf course. Then it's Active Magic fourth early on, Overwhelming fifth in between horses. King of All Diamonds is next on the outside. Then Selection Sunday, Awake at the Wire along the rail. Strategic Defense is second last, 6 lengths off the lead, racing for the clubhouse turn. The trailer is slow starting Unbridled Saint, who's got 9 lengths to make up. And the opening quarter mile was in 23 3. It is Dear John and Paco Lopez a half length in front onto the back stretch. Pasta Lover right up alongside in second. Outside of them, Breath Away is third, Overwhelming fourth along the rail. King of All Diamonds hard held fifth to the outside. In between horses, Active Magic is running in sixth. Then Awake at the Wire. Selection Sunday with 5 lengths to gain. 7.5 lengths more for Strategic Defense to come, and the trailer is Unbridled Saint. 48 flat for a half mile, and they're moving into the far turn. It is Dear John in front, Pasta Lover and Neck back in second. Breath Away third to the outside of Overwhelming. King of All Diamonds travels 3 wide, continues to go well enough. And then comes Selection Sunday, who's under a drive and needs to get going. Strategic Defense is next on the outside. 3/4 in 111 flat, and they're into the stretch. And it's Pasta Lover on the outside, and Dear John keeps on battling at the rail. Overwhelming is third on the far outside. Selection Sunday is fourth into the final furlong. Dear John on the inside. Here's Overwhelming. Selection Sunday coming up the fence. Overwhelming and Joe Bravo in time to beat Dear John. Selection Sunday third. Pasta Lover was fourth.
6, 2, 3, 4, Ian. Dear John just couldn't hold on.
That's how this game goes, isn't it?
Dear John leads every step of the way except for the last step. You'll see 5-2 second choice. Overwhelming, Jersey Joe Bravo, a ground-saving trip just in behind the speed, swings out and is able to get there in time to get the victory. Overwhelming for Shug McGahee, Phipps Stable. This is a homebred by Hard Spun out of the Seeking the Gold mare. Oh, what a windfall. And the homebred Overwhelming gets the job done. 5-2, 6, 2, 3, 4 is how they crossed the wire. Ian, it's been a pleasure meeting you and working with you, my friend. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for coming out, and
appreciate it.
Hopefully a little better luck later on throughout the day.
Bravo wins everything on the grass in Baumach. Everyone knows that, and most of the races on the dirt too. So that's a handicapping note for everybody.
Well, Ian, thanks for coming on. It's great to have you. We are going to get prices from race number 2 when it does go official. But right now, we are going to head to a break. I believe that's going to do it for the morning line. The starting gate is just around the corner. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.